Hey everyone, so today we are filming a video that is quite, I feel like, controversial, and we've been scared to film for a while just because I know everyone has like different opinions, but as you can tell by the title, we went vegan. We've been vegan for over a month, and this video is just kind of going to be telling you why we went vegan and just talking about our experience personally. There's so much to say. If you don't want to hear what we have to say about being vegan, if veganism is something that you don't agree with maybe and you're just going to leave a negative comment on this video, you're welcome to just X right out wherever the X is, because you don't need to watch this and you voluntarily clicked on this video. So just gonna say that. Another disclaimer is that we're not trying to offend anyone with what we're saying right now. Obviously we weren't vegan for most of our lives for the past 18-19 years. Everything that we're saying is just solely like our opinion mixed with other facts that we've learned along the way, and I wouldn't want anyone to be offended by what we're saying. So if you think you're going to be offended by facts that we're saying, again, you don't need to watch this video. Feel free to exit right out.
But if you're open-minded and want to hear about it or are curious at all, just watch.
Yeah, keep watching. We made a little game plan on this paper right here because there's a lot to talk about being vegan. Before we start, I just want to say I had an experience that I thought would be worthwhile sharing with you guys. The other day I was talking to someone about how Lucy and I went vegan, and they brought up a really interesting point and something worthwhile to, you know, think about and consider. And that is, like, I understand if you're vegan, that's great. Like, I know you have lots of reasons why, but why do you feel like you need to tell me? Why do you feel like you need to tell all these people? And for this person personally, it's because I know them personally, and we have just let our closest friends and family know, just because we wouldn't want them to be offended when we've been with them in the past month and at their house for dinner and they're like, why aren't you eating anything? You know what I mean? Your friends and family, you're going to have to tell, and you're gonna have to try to make them understand. Documentaries are great with that. We will get into all of that. But yeah, I just thought that was worthwhile. So why are we here making this video? Why are we trying to tell you guys why we went vegan? Why are we bringing it up at all? Because I think what you're eating, what your diet is very personal.
People get like touchy about it, I think, because it's like a habit and what you're used to, and it's like how you live or have like grown up.
Yeah. Why is it anyone else's business about what we're eating? Why are we making this video? So one reason we're making this video is because on this vlog channel, usually we don't have any sit-down videos like this. We just make vlogs of our everyday life. And over the past month, a top comment on every single vlog is, are you guys vegan? What's going on? And all of you have concocted lots of different explanations. Yes, they're vegan. No, they're not. Gretchen's not vegan, but Lucy is vegan. Maybe they're vegetarian, blah, blah, blah. So we kind of feel like we need to like clear the air and address that anyway, because you guys are wondering, and what kind of person would I be to keep making YouTube videos and ignore all of my followers. So that's one reason. And another reason is to just bring awareness to veganism as it is and kind of clear the stigma around it and the stereotypes, because when Lucy first started telling me about veganism, which we'll get into, she's the one that ultimately told me all about veganism and made me really want to try it. Yeah. There's fuzzy pollens in your hair. And this is all opinion, don't get offended. What I would think of when I heard vegan is the people that can't eat anything. Oh, they're like really preachy, maybe annoying, and looks down on people that aren't vegan. And what we've come to learn is that that's really not how it is at all for, I would say, the majority of people that are vegan. We're vegan, and I wouldn't consider myself someone that's overly annoying and like preaching to everyone. So this video is really to just like bring awareness and tell you about our specific experiences with being vegan. We're just gonna get into the video now.
It starts a long time ago for me. During high school, one summer, I was watching a bunch of documentaries on Netflix. Also, I love documentaries, so I just always watch them, and I came across Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, Hungry for Change, and Forks Over Knives. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, just like what the guy did was really extreme, because he like was really sick and nothing was working for him, so he just like did like a fruit and veggie like juice cleanse for like 60 days, and he like lost all this weight, got a lot better, and it just kind of like started making me like question the way things are, like chronic illnesses and like how they should be treated, I guess.
That happened in Forks Over Knives with the guy who had diabetes.
Yeah, that happened in Forks Over Knives. Yeah, I remember that guy. He was taking like all this medicine every day, like, and he would spend like so much money on it, and
he ended up seeing doctors that recommended, you know, just try going vegan for a month, eat a really plant-based diet, lost all this weight, diabetes, all of his symptoms went away, didn't take any medicine anymore. Like, it's amazing what like a plant-based diet can do for you.
And with like all the issues, especially probably like worldwide, but I know especially in America with like heart disease, diabetes, and like all these things, like
cancer.
Like the answer is just like kind of nutrition.
Oh yeah.
And so that's like was really like interesting and like kind of shocking to me in high school. And then I was eating like healthy, but I wasn't
Cutting out
vegan,
meat and dairy.
like yeah. But then it was like this fall, I was just like looking for documentaries, and then I saw Earthlings and like 101 Reasons to Go Vegan, and
Well, that one's on YouTube.
yeah, and then also The Best Speech Ever, and I watched them and they were really good. And I just remember I was watching Earthlings, it was like 2 a.m. and I was just laying in bed like crying at college. It makes you feel like really guilty for being so ignorant and like kind of naive. It's really intense, like all the images, they like hit you in the heart. You're like, how did I not know this was happening?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, like Earthlings, but also just other documentaries, like the clips they show. It's like how is everyone just like idly sitting by.
Yeah, I think it's really key too to just be so informed. I feel like we're at a point where we're very informed about being vegan and just kind of aware of what's going on, but you can always learn something new. I'd love to just read more books and watch even more documentaries if there's more out there. I'm sure there are. I just think that it's easy to say, oh my gosh, like I know what's going on. I know animals aren't treated well. I know eating a hamburger, I don't know if you guys know, takes gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of water. So much water that goes into making a hamburger. You can see that in Cowspiracy. That's one of my favorite documentaries. It's easy to just think of those things and say, okay, I'll go vegan. But I think what really solidifies that is watching these documentaries. And once you actually see the clips, like you need to see how bad conditions really are for these animals. Like they have nervous systems, they have feelings, they want to be alive and living just like humans. They want to experience life. They don't want to feel pain. That's gonna ultimately help you the most.
Also, like, I don't think when I was younger really as much, but as I've gotten older, I feel like dairy has been really like an issue for me. I'm like kind of lactose intolerant, and also...
Oh, you definitely are.
And
75%. If you see 101 Reasons to Go Vegan, that's my favorite and I think the most informative on YouTube.
It's just like facts.
We're gonna have all these documentaries and things that we find so important linked down below, and he even says in there 75% of Americans are lactose intolerant. Like we're not made to digest lactose after we've been babies. Like our lactase enzymes go away. Most of our lactase enzymes go away. And in milk, they've added lactase enzymes in the milk to help you break down the lactose that's in the milk. It's not natural. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not necessary at all.
I noticed that for a while that dairy has been hurting me. This year I've been in college, so probably like October is when I like remember being like, I'm not gonna eat meat anymore. But I honestly probably didn't ever since I like entered school, because like ew, I like exercise a lot. I'm very active. I've been getting protein. Like I wasn't worried about it. But if you are worried about it, I know there's apps where you can track like what you're eating. I guess you can see if you're getting the right amount of calories, which is always important, but also so that you can see you're eating the right amounts of everything. I did that at first just to make sure, like double check that I was eating what I needed to be eating. I just like kept trying to be vegan while I was at college, but then there'd be something that had traces of something and I'd be like, I want it anyways. And it's like really hard, I think, at college to make the transition. I feel like it'd be easier to do it at home, figure out like what works for you and like what you like. And then go to college like knowing all of that and like having a plan. So I like kept trying to, and I'd do it for like a couple weeks here and there, like ever since like November, but then it just like wouldn't work.
Ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream was the problem, even though it hurt me. Like I don't know, it just,
you'd get the worst.
It was like convenient and I'd be like, yum, but like so many vegan alternatives are like amazing and like taste even better.
Is so good
and like more nutritious. Finally we just like decided to do it and I'm like so happy. Don't see myself like ever going back, like ever.
So number one on our bucket list, if you guys are familiar with the bucket list that we made for the summer, is coming soon. It was this big surprise, and what we decided was that we were going to try to go vegan for, I think it was a month. But after being vegan for a month, I think when you go vegan, like how can you go back just knowing the facts? Like the facts are out there. Educate yourself. If you don't believe us, Google like how much water does it take to raise livestock. If you don't know about it, like the facts will shock you. All the processed food you're eating and junk, it's just not necessary. Why are you drinking cow's milk? That milk is for baby cows. There's growth hormones in that milk to make baby cows grow. Stuff like that, it just doesn't make sense. Really think about it. Also, in 101 Ways to Go Vegan, we tried to make this organized. It's getting a little unorganized, but if you make it through the end and really listen to everything we have to say, I think you'll get like the gist of our message here. In 101 Ways to Go Vegan, he even says, just really think about it. Sorry TMI, but we're all humans, we all know what happens. Eggs, let's just talk about chicken eggs. Would you eat a period of a woman? No, that sounds disgusting. You would never do that. The eggs of a woman, like, no, you don't want that. So why are you eating the period of a hen? Eggs are hens' periods. If you just really think about that, you want to be sick. You don't want it anymore. You don't need that, you know? It's not necessary. Everything Lucy said I agree with. I didn't think I was as lactose intolerant as her, but I've come to realize that I really am. And you know what? Most humans are, and you know what? That's okay, because we don't need to break down lactose. We don't need lactose. Another person I wanted to mention here on YouTube is Khalil, and I remember that's when I really first started hearing about veganism. I'll have her video linked down below. It's so helpful. It's really informative. I agree with everything she has to say. Really, like, inform yourselves. I'm sorry if we're not coming out the right way. Like, it might be hard to, you know, just sit down and film this video and portray what we're really trying to say, but if you watch everything we have linked down below, I think you'll really get the message we're trying to spread. So now we're gonna get into really our personal experience with being vegan, and I also just wanted to touch on Cowspiracy. So Cowspiracy is just another one of those documentaries we watch on Netflix, and it really opened my eyes to what eating meat and dairy is doing to our environment, because I think a lot of vegans and people that are thinking about veganism just think about kind of the nutrition around it and like about the animals, but all of that aside, just think about our planet, think about our environment. Agriculture produces so much greenhouse gases, way more than like we produce as humans, so it's like crazy. So that was just really shocking to me, and I think it's definitely worthwhile to watch that, because that's just a whole other spin on like why you should be vegan.
It also shows you how everything's kind of connected and like trying to like kind of keep people ignorant.
Yeah. No one, like, you guys
really
are watching this and probably most of you don't know like all the facts. Like, you don't know what the leading cause of like global warming is. Agriculture. I'll tell you right now, you know, like that's what Cowspiracy is trying to tell you. And no one knows that. No one will accept it.
They know it, but they won't say it.
They won't publicly say it because it'll like ruin the huge, big, money-making dairy and meat industries, you know? So that's a whole nother issue, and I feel as if people become more informed, I don't think it'll happen in our lifetime, but I would say way down in the future, like eventually someday people won't be able to ignore the facts, and I bet you our population will go vegan. Probably everyone at some point in time. I know that's like a far stretch to say, but I just think that people aren't informed. Like, that's the biggest issue. So we have been vegan for just over a month, and I have never felt better, and I'm sure you can agree. We used to have kind of like stomach issues, you know, when you just have stomach aches, you don't really know why, or after you eat like a big meal, maybe with a bunch of dairy and meat, like you don't feel so good.
Yeah, I feel like it sits really heavy in your stomach.
Yeah, Lucy would feel
like I would try to avoid
sick,
it
like
as much as I could, but like when I would have it, I could like instantly tell, and it would make me feel sick.
I haven't had one stomach ache in the past month. I struggled with being vegan. Actually, no, in the beginning I was like, you know, really gung-ho, like just started, but I think I kind of went about it the wrong way, so I have some tips for you guys. First, I would say cut out meat. Maybe for a couple weeks, just be vegetarian, see how that goes. Second step, cut out things that are noticeably dairy, and what I mean by that is just like the main dairy things. Cheese, milk, stuff like that. No meat, no dairy. Then cut out the things that have hidden dairy in them, like your cakes, your cookies, stuff that are made with milk that you wouldn't think of, some chocolate like that. Then cut that out, so it's kind of like a slow progression. And then also I want to note that we've been eating a plant-based diet, but I guess we haven't fully been vegan. I know I have stuff right now that isn't animal cruelty free, and we're going to be like transitioning into that. I can't tell you that I'm going to throw away all my UGG boots right now, but we like definitely
things I buy from now on.
Yeah, like moving forward, we're definitely going to take that into account and not buy leather, not buy, you know, stuff like that. I'm going to tell you about an instance that I really struggled once I became vegan. This happened recently. So it was just one night, and I kind of felt really pressured about being vegan, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such a hassle. I have to like read all these labels, and like I can't eat anything. And I think it's hardest when you're out to dinner, and I think it's hardest when you're with friends. When you're not home. When there's not as many like vegan options. So I decided one night, I'm like, you know what, I did it for like a month, like I'm just done, like whatever. I had a bunch of dairy, and I think I might have even had some meat, and I kind of thought in my head, I said, I'm vegan, this is great and everything for like all the reasons we just told you, but I also in the back of my head felt like I'm missing out on like the taste of like chicken or ice cream, like real ice cream, or you know, stuff with dairy. So I went ahead, it was one night, I had some dairy, I had some meat. The next day I felt so sick, I can't even tell you, and I said to Lucy, you know what, even if I didn't care at all for all the other reasons you should go vegan, if it's simply just for how I feel, like I'm gonna be vegan by default, because I felt so sick. And now I just know like I can't live without being vegan. Like I have to be vegan. I feel like once you know the facts, that should have been enough for me. Once you know the facts, like that should be enough to like kick your butt into shape and be like why are we eating meat and dairy? Yeah, why? Like why? Have you even questioned that? Like I just think a lot of it is how you were raised. We were raised eating meat and dairy, and probably all of you were, unless your parents are vegan and they raised you vegan. Like that would be great if everyone would do that, but you're not taught to question things that you're like brought up eating. I just think it's worthwhile to just really think about, you know? There's a lot of like stereotypes, I feel like, and stigma around being vegan, and I struggled a lot. I felt very emotional and scared about telling even my friends and family that I was close with. I was so scared to tell people that I decided to go vegan because of just how I felt about the idea of veganism. We should like get rid of the stigma of being vegan. It doesn't need to be like that. Like, okay, I just wrote down some things on here that I feel like I hear people say a lot about vegan. So the first thing is you don't get enough protein. Wrong. I'm gonna tell you right now, I talked to my nutritionist and I talked about going vegan. I was even scared to tell her that I wanted to go vegan. I consulted her before I decided to go vegan. That's also something to note. I was scared to tell her that I wanted to go vegan because I was scared she was gonna say, no, you won't get enough protein. Just because that's what I've heard in my head. That's what like people,
that's what people always say.
That's what they poison your minds with when they tell
like
you that.
Even vegetarians.
Yeah, you don't get enough protein. I'm telling you right now, all of you watching this video most likely get enough protein. My nutritionist told me, she goes, Gretchen, that's so funny. Because I asked her, I said, am I gonna get enough protein being vegan? And she said, fun fact, most humans get twice as much protein as they need. Like we eat way too much protein. Hello, obesity. Vegans get more protein than they need. People that aren't vegan get more protein than they need. Everyone gets too much protein because virtually everything has some protein in it. Meat is not the only thing that has protein in it. Plants have so much good plant protein in them, like better protein than meat protein. We get enough protein, let me assure you. Another thing is, you're not making a difference being vegan, and this bothers me personally because it's like, we are trying to support something good, and by saying like, by not eating meat and dairy, you're not doing anything. Like, no, you are, because by eating meat and dairy, you are actually fueling the cruelty of animals, maybe without thinking of it. So that bothers me because every little thing that you do makes a difference.
So to conclude, we'll like link below some like resources we found helpful, and also some people that we follow on like YouTube, Instagram that are obviously vegan and who like inspire us.
So our battery just died because we've been filming so long, but I just wanted to reiterate to you guys that we aren't judging you if you're not vegan, and we're just trying to like spread awareness. And like I said, there's so many other people out there that are vegan and that have better, more educational things to say than us. I guess we're just making this video really, like I said before, because you guys were so interested about it, and it's something that we feel passionately about.
I would say just watch like documentaries, read like studies, like actual things.
If you think that going vegan isn't for you, that's okay. We're just trying to get you to consider it from our point of view. Maybe just start the conversation with someone else about it. Talk to your parents. We're only gonna keep making vegan videos if you guys want them, so comment down below if you have questions. Maybe we could do a Q&A about being vegan. If you want like recipe videos, we love cooking with vegan things. A lot of you have noticed that
new things.
That our grocery hauls are dairy-free, meat-free, stuff like that. So yes, it's because we've been vegan. Like I said, leave your questions down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video. Bye.